The Saudi-led coalition in Yemen says its air defences have dealt with ballistic missiles launched by the Ansar Houthis. That's after Yemen's internationally recognised government says its armed forces targeted the runway at Sanaa Airport in an effort to prevent an Iranian plane from landing. The Houthis have blamed Saudi Arabia, but there's no confirmation of Saudi involvement.
Yemen's legitimate government, with the help of the international community, has tried on so many occasions through diplomacy and other legal means to convince the Iranian regime and the Houthis in Sanaa to correct course and come back into the international fold. We called on them not to breach Yemen's airspace. This is not the first breach, but this time was different as it challenged the legitimacy of all internationally recognized laws. And now we tell them that our patience has run out and we will respond to the breach with adequate means to confront the plane violating our airspace.
Now, the attack happened at the country's main airport in the capital. This is the moment missiles struck the runway. A delegation from the Ansar Houthi group was returning from Tehran after the funeral of Iran's supreme leader. They've now disembarked the plane at Hodeidah Port. Now let's get more on this from Yusuf Mauri. He joins us from Sanaa. Just give us, Yusuf, the latest Houthi response.
Well, we just got a TV statement from the Ansar Yemeni armed forces, whereby Yahya Saree, the spokesperson for the military forces, claimed responsibility for what they're calling the retaliatory attacks against Abha International Airport. Just a couple of hours ago, Abha International Airport came under attack, and according to the Ansar spokesperson, it was attacked with a series of ballistic missiles and Yemeni drones. According to the TV statement, the attack achieved its intended objectives. He also called on the international community and called on all airliners to not fly over Saudi skies, an indication that the Yemeni Ansar Houthi movement is expected to attack more Saudi airports. According to the statement that was just issued 30 minutes ago, Saudi international airports are going to be closed just as Yemeni airports are closed. And of course, we know that Sanaa International Airport has been closed off by the US and the Saudi-led coalition. They're not allowing any airliners to fly into any of the Ansar Houthi territory. And just a couple of weeks ago, the statement made by the Ansar leader was that the time has come to break what he called the Saudi and US siege on Sanaa International Airport. This is why we are seeing the conflict. This is why the clashes are taking place right now. It's because the Ansar government is attempting to break the siege on Sanaa International Airport, which is leading to the attacks by the earlier today on Sanaa International Airport by the Yemeni armed forces. Of course, the Ansar Houthis, they believe that the attacks were actually carried out by Saudi Arabia, which is why the Ansar Houthis are targeting Abha International Airport. More attacks are expected from the Ansar Houthis until according to them, until the siege on Sanaa International Airport comes to an end. They are holding Saudi Arabia personally and fully responsible for the attacks today and for the closure of Sanaa International Airport. Interesting enough, the Yemeni government, the internationally recognized Yemeni government, was not even mentioned in this latest press statement by the Yemeni group.
Now, Yusuf, nothing happens in a vacuum. We've had a ceasefire, a very fragile ceasefire that's been in place since 2022. So what has led, just to unpack and tell us what the context is for this latest escalation?
Well, the context is many experts, they believe that it was only a matter of time before the war resumes. We know that a ceasefire was signed in 2022 between Saudi Arabia and between the Sanaa Yemeni Ansarullah Houthi government. That ceasefire, to many surprise, it held all the way until just earlier today, where Sanaa International Airport was attacked. The internationally recognized Yemeni government claimed responsibility, but the Ansar Houthi said it's actually Saudi Arabia, and thus Saudi Arabia is now going to be on the receiving end of Yemeni ballistic missiles and Yemeni hypersonic missiles. One thing that the audience should understand about the conflict here in Yemen is that you basically have two governments, one that is ran by the Ansar Houthis, which controls the north, and the other one which is controlled by the internationally recognized Yemeni government that's mainly stationed in the south both of these governments are fighting for control over Yemen. The Ansar Allah Houthis, they have the military force, they have the military power. However, they're not internationally recognized, which is why there remains a blockade on Sanaa International Airport. There's no countries, no states, no airliners will fly into Sanaa International Airport, whereby you have the other government, which is recognized by the UN and backed by Saudi Arabia and recognized by the international community, but they simply don't have the military might to take on a powerhouse like the Ansar Allah Houthis, mainly because the internationally recognized government, their army forces, they don't have fighter jets, they don't have ballistic missiles, they don't have the long-range precision missiles that is in the possession of the Ansar Allah Houthis. For them, for the internationally recognized government to put up any fight against the Ansar Allah Houthis, they will most likely have to be backed by regional powers such as Saudi Arabia and the UAE, which is why the Ansar Allah Houthis' latest TV statement made no mention of the Yemeni government. Their main target is Saudi Arabia and any nation that aligns with Saudi Arabia in attacking Yemen. And it's most likely going to be a situation just like 2015, where you have Saudi Arabia putting together a coalition force to try and topple the reign of the Ansar Allah Houthis, which has reigned supreme since 2015 until today. In fact, they only continue to increase in military power. And the reason why I say that is because every year they seem to advance their military capabilities all the way, even reaching the capabilities of a hypersonic missile, which no other regime in the entire region has. The Ansar Allah Houthis are perhaps the only group in the region that has hypersonic missiles, which they've used in the past.
Yusuf Al-Mari, thank you for putting all of that in context.